dealing with addiction should get help. I feel
Absolutely.
very, very strongly about that. I also, unfortunately, have a sober home. Whether or not it's legitimately helping people or not, I don't know, but it's right across the street from my home. And I own a street that I feel that is possibly going to be overridden by sober homes. We have another building that was just sold, and watching that one. And so I'm glad that you brought that up with the senator, that, we're watching that happen.
I call that one.
So I'm going to call. I also had one of their clients, I watched him and he left. He was kicked out, I guess, of the home, and I watched him struggle getting into the Uber. And he vomited right in front of my house, and I hosed it up, and the trash piles up, and the ambulance comes, and it's just a nightmare, over and over. And, the girl's crying, outside. I don't know what's going on. I know that the feds raided the building and they were running those girls. I don't know if that's what's going on across the street from me.
Sounds like it.
But I went and yelled at them about that puke in front of my house because I just couldn't stand it. And the guys, I told them, look, at least if you see that, you clean it
Well,
up.
I'll
But just
talk
like,
to you.
what else other than calling this number?
That's the start, and I'll talk to you a little bit more because there's some other things that but let's talk about that for a second. What part of sober home do they not understand? That's the problem I have. Sober home. People are dying in the sober home. Obviously,
I
they're
don't
not
think it's
doing
really a sober home, just but I keep talking to my neighborhoods.
well, and that's the problem I have, and we're looking at chronic nuisance and calls to service to build those cases. Unfortunately, it's time.
I think it's really a fake sober home. I think they're bringing out,
Some of them
they're not
are.
treating them, but I don't
Can
know.
I clarify terms here?
Yes, please.
First of all, there's a set of national standards that are promulgated by the National Alliance of Recovery Residences.
Yes, there is.
There are 4 levels of recovery residences, from Oxford houses, which are 6 people that get together and support each other, to level 4, which has a supervision and an in-house
I'll
coverage.
say this to them, because we know this.
All right. So the group that we're primarily discussing here are what are called level 2 recovery residences. From the point of view of the industry, and Andy's done a good job of describing that, the ethical, respectable providers will say to you, in that situation, you don't live next to a sober home, you live next to a drug den.
Right.
Okay? So how are the reputable providers differentiating themselves? In the state of Florida, effective last July 1st, entities that meet the level 2 requirements of the National Alliance on Recovery Residences are invited to become certified by an organization called Florida Association of Recovery Residents, which I'm a president. That group, effective April 1st, has the statutes in Florida, effective April 1st, has required compliance with level 2 standards, as well as the requirement that there be a recovery residence administrator trained and certified in the state of Florida, and a whole series of other criteria, including background checks on the owners, the CFOs, and the staff that work.
Let me ask you real quick, because we know the answer. At today's date, how many of the residents in Palm Beach County actually are members of our?
I can't tell you that for the Palm Beach County, but I can get it for you. But statewide, we're about 4,000 beds that are basically under the certification process. It's a voluntary process, and the only carrot is that if you are certified, you can get a referral from a licensed facility in the state of Florida. If you're not certified, you don't get it.
And last time we checked in Palm Beach County, 57.
57.
So, Del Rey identified 57 sober homes on one street. So that tells you, and even in our boards, we talked about, at one point, I remember them wanting to lower some of the people that have come through the sober home system and are working in some of these houses have worked their way through the system. They had addiction problems and they want to do good things, but they cannot pass level 2 background. And at one point, our board, I don't know if it came to your board, they were talking talking about changing that. And we said, absolutely not. If you cannot pass a level 2, you should not be running one of these houses. So that was just one of the
But
things.
you could get away with it. Let me just describe real quickly what a level 2 should be like, okay? My guess is that maybe 10% of the houses in the state of Florida present themselves for certification. Here's what happens in a level 2 facility. First of all, there are requirements, a number of beds to a number of bathrooms. You can't have more than 4, at most 5 to 1 bathroom. The second thing is that the individuals in there are expected to go to work, go to school full-time, or be involved in community service. They should be paying a rent that's in the range of roughly $170 to $220. There are the $5,000 a month places, but the typical ones are in that range. They need to go to AA or NA probably 5 times a week, if not 7, and they have to participate in a meeting in their facility at least once a week, a community meeting, and they need to be responsible for the operation of that house. They buy their own groceries, they have to cut the lawn, they have to do everything else to minimize this as being in any way exceptional to what's going on in your neighborhood. The reason why you might want to consider a sober house, a good certified sober house, to actually not be a liability, I'm not saying it's an asset, not be a liability, is it's the one place in your neighborhood where nobody's getting drunk.
But those aren't the ones we're talking about today.
Right,
And
but
if
you
it's
have to
sober
turn around.
ones,
We should start talking about these good ones as certified recovery residences, and everything else is not, as far as the legitimate industry is concerned. It's the one place in your neighborhood where they're not doing drugs and they're not drinking.
and John from FAR is on the Proviso Task Force.
Two questions, because everybody else is doing it. Sorry. The fact that a house, I know in West Palm Beach, a house can be declared a nuisance. If there enough illegal activity is going on in that facility, they lose their rental license, they get banned by the police, and they get all sorts of whoop-ass going on. Can that happen in other areas with the idea of if they are a sober home, so to speak, or a recovery center or whatever, and they are actually using drugs, then they are not in recovery anymore. They're drug users. So they're having illegal activity.
Which is one of the reasons they get thrown out, because they get caught using drug, and a lot of times when
The property needs to be declared because they're not maintaining it.
well, only
And any landlord can get thrown under the bus for drug activity, going on dealing. Why not having too many of these in your facility?
We actually had a meeting, workshop not that long ago, last month, where we talked about that. Now, we have a chronic nuisance, but we felt that some of, again, the chronic nuisance was written 50 years ago, whenever it was written. We asked that to look at changing it, because under our current chronic nuisance, certain things have to happen. And one was, at a certain time period, it had to have, an OD, and then if so much time lapsed, it would start all over again, just like any other chronic nuisance. So we actually asked staff to look at treatment now, trying to figure out, how we can put more teeth with that. So, we do have chronic nuisance, but there's certain pieces that have to happen, and if they don't have, an OD and, a certain time to lapse, it starts all over again.
I think it needs to be
But they're
cleaned
not
up.
very smart, because when somebody needs to take them
Out
out
of
of,
the facility.
and either drop them off at that, I can't remember the number that Captain Parks told us, of the drop-offs at the emergency room.
And that's why you attach it to the property.
But you don't
And you
know
take
what the
it back.
property was. If somebody on the property takes the person or being off the property, you don't know what the property was.
And
You know what I'm saying?
I know that's why they don't arrest the drug users.
No.
But the property could be attached, and I know,
What she's saying is they can't prove they
Yes.
can't have the property.
I can't even tell you how many people have died in their local hotels. You have no idea.
and then the other question I had was regarding, every time it comes up in discussion, everyone says that this whole epidemic is related to the pill mills and the stuff that happened a few years ago when those faucets got shut off, and we need to revamp this and we need to do that. What are they doing to deal with Big Pharma, who says that this drug can be prescribed to this child, and it's a, class.
That's a very good question. What she's saying is because a lot of times addiction begins because you took a pill for the back surgery or if you're a child, your wisdom tooth coming out, you broke your arm. And what we've learned, we think, is that, we have a culture, a pain-free culture that we perhaps, our doctors are perhaps prescribing opioids at a higher level and an amount that they should. A mom in this group of 100 and something people said her 13-year-old son had his wisdom teeth removed. And I don't remember, I think they gave him 60. 60. Okay, so now she's got a heroin addict, he's 14. He's in 8th grade. So it does start that way, and it kind of puts chills up your spine when you think about it. And that's how the grandfather died of heroin and healed his arm, because he had opioids for hip replacement. So remember when I said there's a lot of legs to this? What did you call it?
I call it the opposite of the leg. And I can tell you on a national level, we're talking about big pharma.
And Senator Rubio was that was the thing he kept bringing it back to, is there's another piece to this that we have to start having a conversation about, is he even said this, he said, listen, when we start having commercials, because you have opioid, constipation. No, you don't have opioid constipation, you're a drug addict, you have an opioid problem. So he brought that up and he kept bringing it back and said, no more, we do have to get our arms around all of it.
We can just take it away from the kids. If they don't do opioids,
Yes.
don't prescribe them to kids anymore.
Two things. On the insurance end of it, haven't two insurance companies started pulling out of Florida because of this
I know
situation?
one, maybe.
Cigna, right?
Yeah.
So the insurance companies are getting a grip on how much money they're spending and trying to get the hell out of Dodge. And the other thing is, piggybacking on his statement that, the end game is to get good sober homes because there is an epidemic, and until this thing goes away, they're going to be in our neighborhoods. I mean, there's no getting around it. We want them to live in our neighborhoods. So my thought is, as a neighborhood association, we should reach out to those sober homes because they need to be a part of their neighborhood. They need to feel welcome. They need to feel, and then we don't have the fear of what the hell's going on in there. We get to learn who they are, what their story is, and they become a part of the neighborhood association. They're going to be there for 6 months to a year.
And if you can identify them and/or they want to participate, I mean, we do have the good sober home providers on our board that, and on my board, there's a couple that are in Lake Worth, and we've, argued a couple of times because her sober home is free, her sober homes aren't in the best of our neighborhood, and I question that you're, people in neighborhoods that aren't our best neighborhoods, therefore, and that's one of my biggest challenges to comprehend too. As I argue with some of these people, you bring somebody that has an addiction to the downtown entertainment district. Now, their business plan says that they need to be walkable, sustainable, just the same reason we're here, but I can't comprehend that. I have a lot of friends that are that are sober, that have been sober for a long time, that still attend meetings, but I don't understand why you wouldn't put them in rural Texas somewhere where they don't have access. The same thing if you're an alcoholic, I think you should be working at the bar. So I'm still struggling with that, and I have those conversations. I'm visiting, one of our good sober homes tomorrow. I'm meeting with Captain Bear in the morning over those issues and the legs of the octopus, which are, crimes of opportunity, homelessness, prostitution. That's a big thing on one of the Lakewood talks this week. And when I saw it, it had over 121, comments. I didn't see a lot of solutions in the comments, but I saw a lot of frustration. And, I don't respond as an elected, but I see it and I hear it. I'm your neighbor, I'm a downtown business, so, I see a little bit more, but I do address it on the different levels, and, we're trying to, facilitate some of that, but it's all, I keep saying, if you took the sober home piece out of Lake Worth, out of Boynton, out of Delray, our city would be great. We always struggle with different issues. I'm a native Floridian, so we've always had something going on. Years ago with gangs. But if you took that sober home octopus out of Lake Worth, we'd be great. We are a great place anyway, but we wouldn't have those issues to deal with. Yes.
Two things. What Phil mentioned about bringing them into the neighborhood. We had Solid come to our South Mount Park Neighborhood Association meeting, acting as a good actor in this whole thing. And we know what's happened since then.
And
They
they
came in, it was just a bad situation. So we tried to bring them in, it really didn't work. But going back to this is light at the end of the tunnel, because, if we move this back around, to be certified, voluntarily certified, you can then receive referrals, right?
Right.
If you're not voluntarily certified, that means you're patient. And this loops right back around to the someone on task force and the patient. So this is a good thing that's happening, because we're able
This is
to.
Senator Fleming's bill last year that he passed. That neighbor.
2 years ago. Right, no, exactly. Yeah,
So,
but it
but
does help,
in that-
it does help us at least identify some of the prisons. Because if they're not certified, then we know that.
But again, if you were up to date, how long does it take you to get? If you were doing everything you should be doing, and maybe you can answer that question, how long would it take for you? Does it take you 2 years? Why aren't there more?
If I applied today, and I went through all the hoops, assuming that everybody is certifiable with the background checks, and I have trained people, I could probably be provisionally certified within 60 days and permanently certified within 90 days. So, and the critical element here is every certified home is listed on the DCF website. So you want to see whether your home is a certified one or not, go look it up on the DCF website.
If you have a sober home in the neighborhood, it's not listed on.
And I know there are quite a few that have applied, but there's just as many that haven't applied for whatever reason.
Let me just make one other comment. Just be clear here. These are people that have finished detox. They finished treatment. They finished partial hospitalization. They finished intensive outpatient. They need to be in an environment that sustains their commitment to sobriety. They come together. They have people around that are in recovery supporting them. They're got to go to work. If they use the tested randomly for urinalysis, if they flunk, they're out. And a certified home has to have a discharge plan for every person that's there.
And that's part of some of the things that we came out of our board is a discharge plan. Where are these people going? If you do, kick somebody out, they have to come up for a certain period of time. All these ideas and things came in the last 100 years.
Oh, when you pick them up, we'll just send them to the plaza?
Yes.
What's the question? How can we help out in your efforts to do the right thing?
A couple of different things. The
Yeah.
first thing you can do is identify what's close to you, what's in your neighborhood. Whether it's a bad player, whether it's a code violation, crimes. I do work with that. That helps. You know what's going on in your backyard more than I know. And then Commissioner Paterio had mentioned, at some point we're going to need letter writing.
We need to get our governor to realize that we have a health and he needs to declare it. Some states have, and he still says it's our problem, it's not working.
And we had mentioned, where we have to identify the organizations that are going to work with it and where the funding is going to come from. The governor identified a lot more funding. That's really what it's about, is epidemic funding. If you remember, we had last year an issue with the mosquito thing. Zika. I was getting calls every day from the news. What are you hearing about Zika? What are you hearing about Zika? I'm not hearing anything about Zika. I've never had a call, but they threw a lot of money into it because it was an epidemic. So
Let me put it in perspective. If you wanted to open up a license, you parlor. It would take you 3 years of educating yourself, and the licensing fee, the yearly licensing fee is hundreds of dollars, and you have to keep up with it yearly.
Same thing with the nail salon.
Right, you do not, and it costs more to do that, to cut somebody's hair. We could right now, just, being business owners and elected politics, we could go out and open a salon tomorrow with none of that, with zero social work background, with no medical background, with nothing. We could just open that tomorrow, and we could start charging the $1,000 or $600 for a urine test. We could start doing all those things. So being aware of what's around you, even a good one, is really important to know. And you'll know the difference immediately. It's pretty obvious. You don't have a good one. Sure.
Yeah. And again, my cell phone's on my card, I'll give you a card. You can find me on the city's website. Email me, text me, alert me, anything that's going on. I get it. This morning, the first thing I got was an abandoned car in the alley, no tag, there's somebody sleeping in it. I called the beat cop, I said, hopefully they're just sleeping in it. He went by, they had already woken up, they red tagged it through the code department. In the morning, as soon as he gets here, he's gonna go by and see if he can catch that person sleeping in it. The first thing we do is offer them service. The last thing I want to do is not help somebody. Same thing with sober homes. I wish they weren't sending their loved ones to South Florida, but when you get here, you need to get help. You need to get what you're paying for. That's not happening. Again, there are good providers out there. I've got great friends that work in the community that have come through the system, and they're doing great, but 90% of them are not.
And we're good partners. The cities and the counties, they're all working together. You're not, you cannot do that. Wait, say that again, I'm sorry.
Jericho Resident has a webpage where they send us things, you just have the numbers and the names and things to contact.
The names and numbers for who?
Andy.
Oh, me? Yes. Parent code and
I thought you were asking for the names of the sober workers.
No, I just
Which is illegal.
Yeah, I'm your district commissioner, and I'm sure Anthony will be out.
And Anthony, can I have the last question to Commissioner Gutierrez? Sure. Will West Palm Beach be entering in the rat race? Just enlighten us.
So pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
I don't know, are they?
We'll have to wait and find out.
All right, we want to see the South End West Palm Beach neighborhood in our rat race this year.
All right, we'll try.
Maybe
We'll work on it.
Blue Wave Trail.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, so we're wrapping up. There were a couple of things I did want to say. I did hear the question somebody asked if we know how many they were. As was mentioned, there's not necessarily a tracking mechanism other than the ones that are registered. Anecdotally, it's suspected there's 2. They exhibit the signs that one would see with the silver home. So there's 2 of them that we know of. I haven't heard a whole lot of general complaints, other than a couple of times a year there's a bunch of trash out in front of them, kind of coming and going. There was one item, and I'll bring it up for the good of the group. There is a home of concern on North O Street that has been reported to us that there's vagrants taking up residence in that home. If you look at it, it's very obvious which one it is. If anybody lives in the northern part of North O Street and begins to see people living in an abandoned home over there, please call that into PVSO. It's supposed to be, and actually report it to code as well. Homes are not allowed to be unsecured. They have to be secured, and if people are going in and out of them, taking up residence there that aren't supposed to be there, that is a code violation. So,
Did you say the address?
I did not say the address on purpose, but it's very obvious which one it is in the northern part of North Oak Street. It brought to my attention the other day. I looked at it myself. It's pretty glaring. So, any neighbors there, please report that. We want to make sure to go through that. That's pretty much about it. Anybody have any just general Carico questions or comments before we wrap up here? We talked about that at the beginning. Would you like to talk about it again? Judith is really excited about swim through Carico, so she wants to bring it up again. So. That's fine. Anything else from anyone?